What's going on, guys? Welcome to part 3 of the longest Q&A ever. We have a lot to get to, so let's keep working through them. I am Alex asks, why do you want to escape life by drinking? Does death scare you, or does it motivate you? I don't want to escape while drinking. I've essentially made up a rule that if I'm drinking because I don't like the way I feel, then I shouldn't be drinking. So I'm not drinking on those days. I'm drinking when there's nothing to escape. And does death scare me or does it motivate you? Both. Death scares me tremendously. Like, I have not come to terms with it. I don't have any peace about it. Very scary. It motivates me in the sense that I would like to try to live while I can and do what I can while I can. Me Here Now asks, Are you happier now that you are allowing yourself to drink? Do you still go to AA meetings? Has your decision impacted your relationship with your wife positively or negatively? Don't feel obligated to answer if the questions are too personal. Of course I'm going to answer. I don't want to say that I feel happier, but I just feel less focused on myself. I feel less connected to my depression and my anxiety. I feel less obsessive, less in tune. That's something I was so desperately needing, was a breather from how incredibly and overly self-absorbed I was. For whatever it's worth so far, it does seem to have put a wrench in the frequency at which I think about the way I'm feeling. I went to an AA meeting to celebrate a friend's birthday, but no, I'm not going to AA meetings right now. I just feel like I need to respect the mantra that the only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking, and I don't currently have a desire to stop drinking. I don't think the decision to drink again has negatively impacted my relationship with Jesse. I think we're very in tune with each other. We're so communicative, and I'm trying so hard not to do anything dishonest that I think it's been fine. So far I think our relationship has not been really swung either direction. We were in a pretty good place, and I think we're still in a pretty good place for right now. Catherine Brandt asks, do you really believe things will get better for us? By this I mean all of us this end. Do you really think we can get out of this? You don't know the extent of our lives, and I personally feel I'm too weighed down and pathetic to ever have some form of happiness. It seems like a fairy tale to me. Do you really truly believe something so unbelievable? I think there's a life worth living, despite this. I think there's something worth fighting for. I still think it's worth it. I'm not entirely sure we ever fully get out of it, though. I think that's been one of the toughest pills to swallow, is that it feels like this is never ending. But then I get moments of pause, and my mental health will improve for a little stretch, and I remember why I do it. I remember why I care so much. I remember why I fight. And then it'll crash, and I wonder if it's worth it. And I feel like I'll never be happy, and I'll always be hurting. But one thing is for sure, every time I have an upswing, I don't care about the downs, and every time I have a downswing, history has shown me that an up will follow it. It's just getting to that next up is really exhausting, and that's why I think it's so important to have things in place to help you make it there. Everyone I've ever heard of who tried to commit suicide and survived is really glad they did, and everyone I've ever met in this journey who's battled just tremendous obstacles, mental health wise, believes it was a good thing that they didn't give up. But it's hard to believe until you start experiencing some good for yourself too. So if you haven't yet, I hope you stay brave, and I hope you know that I'm glad you're here. Random Bike Trips asks, what did you do and who were you surrounded with about 24 hours leading up to when you broke your sobriety? I should have just called this Q&A my drinking Q&A. What was your mindset like in the hours leading up to that drink? Was it like that last time when you were in your car and decided just to go to the liquor store and get a drink by yourself? It was a day off. I was with my wife, and we decided that if I was going to do it, I was going to be with her. I wasn't going to be sneaky about it, be safe about it. It was not like last time when I went to the liquor store and drank by myself. I've tried to do everything different about this time of drinking, and for the most part it's been that way. It's been different. It's been a different drinking experience. Waffle Bear HD, have you ever taken psychedelics? No, I haven't. I'm too afraid of having a bad trip or it negatively impacting my mental health. I know there's irony there because I'm drinking again, but bear with me. Ooh, this question has 13 likes on it. So Lena Vu says, hey Noah, my question is about something that really bothers me in my daily life. I suffer from depression and anxiety as well. And my biggest fear always is that I am, in a way, missing life. hear you. I see friends from school now being so successful or travel the world, and I am so hindered by my mental health and everything. I'm constantly fighting to do better and get things done and experience things, and I feel like compared to others, I still fail miserably. I guess the question would be, are you scared to miss out on life and experiences because of your mental health problems? Of course I'm afraid of those things, and reading your words is like reading my own thoughts, but I do have an answer for you, and it's not like I can fix you answer, but here's what I will say to that. I used to think that I was so depressed and so miserable that I couldn't do anything. Why bother? I can't enjoy them anyway. And what I've learned is that we depressives, we anxious folk, we suicidal people, we can do some incredible things whilst being depressed, and we also can surprise ourselves with moments of clarity, moments of happiness when living life anyway that we didn't realize were coming. Like, for example, I don't feel like doing anything most of the time. I feel overwhelmed and hopeless a lot of the time. Sometimes when I just go do anyway, I'll be blown away by the fact that I actually feel something really good about it, or I'm really glad that I went. My psychiatrist tells me the story about this patient of his. Severely depressed for a long time, tried tons of medications and therapies, nothing worked. And he decided he was going to commit suicide. He told my psychiatrist this. He's like, it's going to happen. I'm figuring out the details. But until then, I'm going to knock a bunch of things off my bucket list, and then I'll be able to do it. And so he came up with this laundry list of things that he wanted to do before he died. And he didn't really see the point in doing them other than to say that he did them, because he wouldn't enjoy them, right? He didn't have any energy. He was in a horrendous fog and haze. He was apathetic, deeply, deeply depressed. But since he was going to die anyway, he decided to go do all these things. Travel, skydive, try new meals, go out dancing, see the Grand Canyon, whatever. And ironically, when he got out there and started living his life anyway, in the few months that he tried to do this bucket list, he no longer wanted to die, and he slowly started to come out of his major depressive disorder. He was treatment resistant, and it sort of helped. So I guess just try to keep living anyway, even if you don't think you'll enjoy it, even if you don't see the point. But to be more emotionally sensitive to you, I have felt all the things you are feeling. I have compared myself to the perceived happiness I saw in others millions of times, and I felt like life was just passing me by. I really have. But I've also been lucky enough to have moments where I felt stable and know that there was still something worth experiencing. But it's not fair. It's not easy. And it is what it is. Like, it's the life we have. I fantasize about do-overs and having a different brain, but we don't get that, do we? So I just hope that you find it in you to keep fighting, and I believe in you. Cab asks, have you been at a point where you're depressed enough to try and forget about your own life and sick yourself into someone else's problems, responsibilities in an attempt to aid them, since you feel like no one is doing that for you? If so, how did this affect your mood? Well, yes. I mean, I've definitely felt so depressed that I was like, oh, I'm not going to make it. But I've tried to help other people, and I would never toot my own horn. But I've used this channel as like an outlet for that. You know, I read people's messages and respond to them. I try to make videos that I think could be relevant, maybe could help someone. So I felt some relief in that way. It makes you feel really good to think about others and see what you can do to help them and to be there for them, whether it be like in my situation here online or in your day-to-day life, which I try to do as well. There's something healing about that. It just takes you outside yourself, and it often can lead to a less depressed feeling within yourself. Only thing I was going to say is that I've always had people doing that for me also. I've been really blessed. Kathak Dance 1 says, you do have many suicidal thoughts. How far or close do you actually come to actually acting on them? Do you, however bad you feel, see those thoughts as something that you can always be able to control, or you feel you can't trust yourself and or likely ever act upon them? In other words, do you think you will always be able to control yourself and just do not go there? When I was severely depressed, I went to a bridge once. I drove to the bridge. I thought about jumping. I didn't end up doing it, obviously. I was too afraid. Now, what I say about those thoughts is I want to tell you that I just know it will never happen. Like, there's a part of me that wants to be like, hell no, I'll never do it. I know no matter how depressed I am, it'll never happen. But I'm not that sure. I hope so. I hope I never act on them because they've always left. It hurts when they last for a long time. It hurts more than any pain I can explain. A lot of you know. But I hope I don't. And the reason I don't feel positive is because you hear stories of people giving up. I sort of said this in a different question. It's like, why did they give up? What pushed them there? I've hurt in ways that I didn't know were humanly possible because of my mood disorders. Why haven't I given up, and why do some give up? What does it take to push you there? I just pray I never get there. I think that's why it's so important for me to keep fighting, to keep trying, to stay open, to stay communicative. I don't keep the shit to myself because, crazier things have happened. So, I do kind of have a rule, though, that when I start feeling suicidal, I tell some people about it, and if they need to put me in some place to keep me safe till it passes, so be it. That's a scary thing, though. It's a really scary thing. Joy Walsh, when you decided to take that drink and had a bad case of the fuckets, did you feel like you were stepping from the light to the dark? That probably sounds weird, but I was saying to my mom the other day that I don't drink not because I can't, but because I know how easy it is to go from the light to the dark. For me, it's not depression, it's the 24/7 pain with my fibromyalgia and arthritis, and the fact that my chance to have kids and a normal relationship was taken away from me. I know if I was to give in and try and find release in drink or drugs in order to escape the 24/7 pain and heartache, then I doubt I'd ever come back. And it helps to see my actions in shades of black and gray. Does your depression color your mind? I've heard some people say that depression leaves them feeling like the world has lost color and it's faded. Is that how it feels for you? Well, damn. It's a great question. I've always seen drinking as black or white, going from the light to the dark, dark to the light. And I'm trying not to see it that way anymore. So I think I fought urges to feel that way. Like, I drank again. I'm a bad person again. And I've been working really hard to reestablish a different mindset about it, which I feel like I'm doing. And I'm doing it by doing other things in life that still matter to me and keeping my priorities straight in other ways and allowing myself to feel good on the days I feel good and I feel like I don't deserve to or something. Doesn't sound weird, though. I don't know how I would feel if I had physical ailments like you're describing. But thank you for that question. And sometimes, yeah, my depression, of course, still colors my mind. I mean, I had a couple of really rough days last week, and you don't see anything else. It's just darkness. It's just endless darkness and hopelessness and no good emotions. It's bad. But you wake up the next day and maybe it'll be better, and yeah. You do get used to the change, though. A little bit, at least. Jade Alex Ingram. How do you feel about the concept of necessary evil? Do you feel that some of the negative experiences you have had may have been, necessary to your personal growth and development? Is there one specific moment in your life that sticks out where, at the time, you really wished it wasn't happening, but now you kind of feel glad that it happened? I know that sounds strange, but I hope I made some sense. No, it doesn't sound strange. It makes sense. Yeah, I do believe in the concept of necessary evil. I think most things of greatness stem from suffering and pain and hardship and difficulty, so it's really hard for me to say this because it's almost taken my life and it continues to affect me, but my mental breakdown, I took that Vivitrol shot and everything changed. It, as bad as it hurt and as long as the pain lasted and how impossibly hopeless it felt, it led me to it just led me closer to myself. It brought me to YouTube. It made me try harder at everything in my life. It just almost killed me. So, when I'm feeling stable, I guess I'm glad it happened, because a lot of good has come from it despite all the darkness and pain. But when I'm not feeling stable, I'd do anything to just wake up and be a kid again and do so many things differently. I believe in the concept, though. Zeke Baraja says, "Hi Noah, my question to you is, do you consider yourself an alcoholic? In all honesty, do you believe in your heart that you can or will be able to drink moderately? I suffer from anxiety and the thought of relapse scares the shit out of me. How do you take that first drink now and stop without abusing it? Do you regret your relapse? Hope all is well. I look forward to your Q&A, and God bless. I've had drinking experiences since I relapsed again that felt very normal and healthy. Where I was like, could an alcoholic do this? Like, have 2 or 3 and have no interest in a 4th? And then I've had other drinking experiences where I had a few and it led to a few more. Very much reminded me of when I was younger. And I always wanted one more until I got good and drunk, and then I'd be done. Never drinking to blackout, but drinking very alcoholically. Some days I ask myself, was I always just ever a problem drinker? Or is that something I have to say to myself to justify what's happening? Other days I'm like, maybe I am an alcoholic, but maybe I'm okay with that. And I'll just try to be careful. What makes me sound like less of a douchebag? I'm sorting this out still. It's just really important for me not to bullshit you guys while I sort it out. I'm leaving all options on the table at the moment. But I don't regret relapsing. I don't. It needed to happen. I needed to drink again. It was definitely needing to be part of my story. I don't regret it at all. But I do want to stay mindful of the possibility that I need to get sober again. I just don't feel that way right now. But I'm happy for you and your sobriety, and stay careful and be brave. And like I said in the last video, nobody gets to suffer anyone's consequences for them. So being sober is the most important thing to you. Do it. Stick with it. And don't forget why. DLL. What did it feel like when you had that first drink after such a long time? Explain in detail. I've drank enough in my life to where it's not like I straight forgot what it felt like, but it just felt good. Felt a little euphoric. Got a little buzz. Felt kind of silly and light. I don't want to glorify it or go into any more detail than that, but it wasn't a big deal. It was, I don't know, it was just different. Katie Sheehan, since you started drinking again, have you noticed any progression at all? Also, are you sure it is okay to mix the medication with alcohol? Thanks. No, it's not okay to mix the medication with alcohol. I definitely haven't drank on days where I've taken it. I made a rule for myself not to drink to change the way I feel. What's weird is I think I drank pretty heavily the first week I came back, maybe 10 days I came back, at least a few times in that stretch, and then have drank less and less as the last 3 or 4 weeks have gone on. So I'm kind of progressing backwards at the moment, which is good. If there's a way to stick to an ideal amount of drinking, it'd probably no more than once a week, once every 2 weeks, and even less than that if it made sense. But we'll see. Anna Scissors. Since you started drinking again, have you done an all-nighter, a completely destructive night, out coming home at 8 a.m.? No, I haven't done that, but I've definitely gotten really drunk one of the nights. I just stayed home. CN, what's up? Have you ever tried acupuncture or traditional Chinese medicine? Yes. Also, has the testosterone not caused you problems with prostatitis? If you're asking about my prostate, it's doing great. Hasn't been negatively impacted by the TRT. And yeah, I tried acupuncture a number of times. It was fine. SMPM, do you believe that there are more than 2 gender identities? I've never been asked a question like that before. I don't know. I don't have an opinion on that. Maybe. YLLWGATR asks, when and what was happening at your worst moment of suffering in your life? 2011. It was weeks after I'd had my breakdown. I was suffering from panic attacks, suicidal ideations, complete dissociation with my environment, the deepest, darkest, most painful depression I could ever imagine. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, and I prayed that I would just die every second. I couldn't go out because I was afraid I'd lunge in front of a car. Everything I looked at looked like an object I could kill myself with. My head felt on fire, and yet I felt nothing at all. That was bad. That was a bad time. It haunts me to this day. Adam Jones, do you still get suicidal thoughts? Oh yeah. Absolutely. I was having them just a few weeks ago, and I've been really lucky to not have many. I don't think I've had any for a couple weeks now, 2, 3 weeks, but I go in cycles. I go in cycles where I get them, and they eat me alive when I have them, and then they slowly kind of go away, but they exhaust you. They leave you very beat up. The real king. When you had your mental breakdown, which treatment was more helpful for you, medicine or TRT? Did medicine help you at all with your DP and depression? I'm asking because I'm doing both right now. I didn't find the right medication, and if you're talking about pharmaceutical meds, I didn't find the right one that made any difference whatsoever. So TRT made some difference. It was definitely a positive change, but I didn't find the right medication, I don't think, if there happens to be one that works for me. D2DAP636, hard hitting. How do you think this will work for you, your channel and your followers? I'm worried about my channel, and I'm worried about my followers, and I'm worried that I can no longer be whomever, perhaps anyone who subscribes, need me to be anymore. Like, as my time run out, if I'm going to be a drinker, am I no longer trustworthy as someone who could try to offer help or insight? Maybe it was never about offering insight or help on mental health. Maybe all this channel ever was me being honest, and maybe that'll be enough. But I worry about that. This channel means so much to me that it's why I posted so little. I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I don't want to lose you guys. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to make this channel worthwhile, but I'm scared about it. For sure, scared about it. Makeup Positivity asks, how do you motivate yourself on days where you just really don't feel like getting out of bed? I suffer from severe depression and anxiety, and I'm a recovering addict, so naturally I still have these days, and I'm curious as to how other people deal with this feeling of why get up. Every day is the same. I do it just in case every day won't be the same, just in case there's a future that's different than the present. I literally have survived off of the just in case. With the potential permanence of truly giving up, right? If we're going to go to the full dark place. There's no do-overs there, but if even there's a chance that things could be better, I have to keep getting up just in case. And some days it's harder than others, and some days I honestly feel like I can't move and I can't handle another second inside my head. Not one more moment of the suffering. But then we just do, right? And we get these little baby redeeming moments that remind us why. Good question. Oh, and not to preach, having structure and schedules and stuff like that, but structure and schedules help. Setting up reasons I have to get up. iworkupnorth.com asks, are you scared to go off steroids? Big time. Super scared to go off testosterone replacement therapy. I'm on 120 milligrams a week now. I've been on that for a while, and my levels are right where my doctor wants them to be. I just got my blood work back. I need to make a separate video on that, but I associate that with, something that was a big part of why I didn't die at my worst. I'd be very scared to not have it. Ryan Moore, how often do you really lean on your wife and listen to her advice? And how often do you just do what you want and just deal with her being pissed because you knew better than to do it? I lean on my wife every day, and I feel like I listen to her advice all the time. I trust my wife with everything. She's so smart. She's intelligent beyond academics. She's emotionally intelligent. She's responsible. She's open-minded. She's not like overly opinionated. So when she has a feeling on something, I know to trust it. And unless I have some overwhelmingly strong opinion on something, I lean on my wife all the time. She's my backbone. She's my rock. She's always got my best intention, or my best. She's always got my well-being in mind. So I rarely do anything and just deal with her being pissed off. But we don't really have that type of relationship where I'm just like, screw it, I'm going to do this and piss her off. Like, we're either on the same page or we're writing a new page. Darian Mayberry asks, when you have low sex drive, does your wife get upset? Does it put strain on your relationship? No. I rarely have low sex drive, although it's happened in spurts. It happened really bad before TRT, and I've had these little moments since. But, I mean, like, I think if we're the other way around, if she had low sex drive and went through long stretches where she didn't want to have sex, I'm sure it'd be really hard on me. But being the typical type A male that I am, and her being, You know, she's a healthy female. She has a healthy drive, but she's fine if I'm out of commission for a little bit. Never lasts more than a few weeks. Lady Wolf, what is your favorite distraction when you're feeling really low and not thinking right? Exercise, CrossFit, all day, day. Gotta build them guns. Mansion video. Did you justify an excuse in your mind to drink again? I asked because I didn't touch anything for 15 years, but one day since I had gone so long without drinking or pills, I thought I could handle it, just doing it once in a while. I was dead wrong. No disrespect to you. I wish you success no matter what you do. Did you justify an excuse? Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course. Like, I definitely justified an excuse in my mind to drink again. Yeah, I definitely, that had to have been part of it. It's not like I went into it and was like, this is going to be perfect. I'm positive. Nothing bad could happen here. I'm a different person. I was like, no. Like, I was trying to weigh pros and cons and just see if I was willing to take that chance anyway. Gabrielle Murphy says, hi Noah, I really enjoy watching your videos and appreciate your honesty. If someone close to you in the weeks to come approaches you and says they think drinking is affecting you negatively, but you don't feel it is a problem, would you stop drinking again? I would very seriously look into what they were saying. You know, I'm in constant communication with my wife about how things are going in that respect. How is she feeling about you know, my behavior? I'm looking to see if things are starting to slip, you know, and I'm going to be very sensitive to that. I'm not losing my wife over drinking. I'm not losing my job over drinking. I'm not willing to lose these things that are so important to me. So the whole thing here was to see if it could be a part of my life, not be the only thing in my life. And then it's just my job, like I keep saying, is to be honest about that, be real about it. I think that would be a big red flag. Rasumisorumu. I can't remember your first name because I know you told me, but yeah. How would you compare the feelings of craving for alcohol to the feelings of craving for food when you're very hungry? They're kind of eerily similar sometimes. Or the cravings of other kind. Does it all start relatively suddenly or does it gradually sneak up on you? Also, maybe even more important question, are there days where you actually look at a bottle of beer or other alcohol beverage from the close distance or even hold it in your hand and feel minimal cravings or no cravings at all? I wouldn't say it's like sudden. I don't really have like, I think it more gradually is sneaking up on me where like in a couple of times I've drank this last couple weeks, I've just been like, ooh, this would be a good night to drink. Like, I don't have anything going on tomorrow. There's like a social function going on. Like, that sounds fun. Let's do it. Not so much where I'm like surprised that I want to. But I had like a 6-pack of beer sit in my fridge for 4 weeks, not get touched. I've got a 5th of Bacardi rum that's been in my cupboard for 2 weeks, and it's like a quarter of the way drank. So I've already, much to my surprise, honestly, because this was a big test for me, I've had alcohol around me and definitely not felt like I had to drink it or wanted to drink it, depending on my mood. But sometimes in the mood, and then that's different. All right, thank you so much for watching part 3, the longest Q&A ever. See you guys in part 4.